Hello everyone. Now in this session we will know about the concept of a deadlock under the database management system. What exactly the deadlock situation is. In general, everyone knows the deadlock occurs is a vice versa requirement of the two entity. That one is a two transaction wait for each other condition calls a deadlock. That one is simply the situation. Now T1 is one transaction, T2 is another. T1 apply a lock on A and waiting for the B, right? T2 apply on a lock on a B and waiting for A. This is simply the T1 waiting for T2 and T2 waiting for T1, and it comes with a deadlock situation. Like in the database, deadlock is unwanted situation in which two or more transactions are waiting identically for one another to give up the locks, and that one is not possible, right? If it is this type of situation occur, it's again no solution for this situation. Deadlock is said to be the most feared complication in a DBMS. Then what is the solution? We need to control the situation which one is not goes to the deadlock condition, right? That is the solution. Let's understand concept of deadlock with the examples. But T1 holds a lock on some row, and that one is already we will discuss. Now we will go with the how to control it or avoidance of a deadlock. This is simply the scenario of a deadlock. Now when database is stuck in a deadlock, it always better to avoid the deadlock rather than restarting or aborting the database. Means the system goes on a deadlock and then we again recover it, or it may be again the re-undo it. It's not a solution. We'll just to try to avoid that type of deadlocking. Deadlock avoidance method is suitable for smaller database, where a deadlock prevention method is suitable for a large database, like a deadlock avoidance method and the deadlock prevention. Means we can say that we just to avoid, because of that with a small database we can analyze the situation and we avoid it. But if the database is large, we need to run with some logic to prevent it. Don't miss a particular database, not go with the deadlock situation. We need to run the prevention system. Now one method of avoiding deadlock is using application consist logic. We need to apply the program. Transaction that access student and graduate should always access the table in the same order. Means if we apply this accessing, like T1 first to access the student and then it access grade. This one is the sequence which one is we allowed for every transaction, then deadlock is not occurred, because of if T1 is access the student and T2 is want to access the grade, which is not allowed as per the sequence. T2 need to firstly access the student and then T2 have a permission to access the grade. If we decide this sequence, then we can prevent the deadlock. It's a very simple concept. If T1 access the grade and T2 access the student, and then again each other want to access the vice versa. If we apply a sequence for the transaction, we have a two entity, then transaction T1 apply for the student, or it may be a sequence of the accessing the content is the student and then grade. Then T1 apply the lock on a student and T2 want to again access the grade, is not possible, because T2 firstly access the student, which one is T1 is already applied the lock. That's why T2 goes to the waiting state, and because of that it's not going with the deadlock situation. That one is simply the concept about to the prevention system, right? About to the method avoiding deadlock using is like it's simply the sequence about transaction that access the student. We should always access the table in the same order. That ordering is a solution to prevent from the deadlock situation. This scenario describe about transaction T1 simply wait for the T2 release a lock on a grade before it begin. When transaction T2 release a lock and T2 and proceed freely. Another method for avoiding deadlock is apply both row level locking mechanism and read commit isolation level. It does not guarantee to remove the deadlock completely. This one is again another way to prevent the deadlocking, like apply both the row level locking mechanism and read commit isolation. This one is simply the again a mechanism to go with some method and to prevent the deadlocking. That one is simply the example, or it may be a situation how exact the deadlock created, and how exact we try to avoid the deadlock. Okay, thank you.